Hello everyone, it's Miss Sherry along with Miss Mary behind the camera
Hi guys!
from the Dakota Prairie Museum in Aberdeen with another history moment. Normally we're going out to various third grade classrooms during April and sharing one of our most popular programs of the year, Extreme Weather on the Prairie. Since school is not in session, we thought we would share a few of the highlights of this program with you and your families and anyone else that likes to learn about history. Because we're finally done with all the cold and snow of last winter, it makes it a little easier to talk about now. Let's look at the top 10 snowiest winters in Aberdeen's history. These numbers are compiled using the snowfall that occurred from October to April each season. That way, we're comparing like with like. As you can see, the top winter for snow was 1936-37, with 109.8 inches of snow in just 7 months. We've never come close to those numbers, and we hope we never will. That's 9 feet 1 inch of snow. The drifts that year were huge. The next worst winter was 1896-97, which we talked about last time. That had 94.6 inches, or just 2 inches away from 8 feet of snow. The third snowiest winter was very recently, 81.1 inches of snow in 2018-19. We all remember that one. Even though 1936-37 was more recent and many people had cameras to take pictures, we have very few photos in our collection. But we do have many photos of 1896-97. Even though they had a little less snow, we're going to be using those instead. In the late 1800s, they didn't have semi-trucks yet, so all supplies came in and left on trains. So it was very important to keep the tracks cleared. Most trains had a V-shaped plow on the front of the engine, and that could bust through the smaller drifts of snow on the tracks. But in December, that started to change, so the railroad went to Plan B, and that was to hire snow shovelers to keep the tracks open. The Thursday, December 3rd edition of the Aberdeen Daily News ran this headline: Snow shovelers, 150 employed on the James River Division of the Chicago, Milwaukee, and St. Paul Railroad. Between this city and Bowdle, the company has 60 men at work. They come from various points in the east and receive a uniform wage of $1.25 a day. Take a good look at the photo and just how high the snowbanks had gotten by that month. Can you imagine what it was like for those shovelers standing on the bottom level, right on the railroad tracks, lifting the snow up to the next level? It looks like it's higher than they are. Then the second row of men taking that snow and lifting it up again. That's a lot of very hard work, and the men are working as far as you can see in the distance. But as the storms of late December and early January came, those shoveled out areas filled in quickly, and they became too deep for hand shoveling, so in comes the big railroad rotary snowplows. These sat in front of the steam engine and had a huge 6-foot spinning blade that would cut through the snow. The train would head out with one of these in front and then would start the blades and ram into the drifts. The snow was blown out from 2 chutes on the top of the plow and would throw the snow 20 to 30 yards from the railroad tracks. It was slow going, but they did manage to keep the main railroads open so supplies could get out. In the winter of 1936-37, the rotary snowplows had more power, but they were basically used the same way, but not just to keep the railroad open. They were also used on highways and roads and in towns. One of the most famous of the early snowplows was the Snow King, used by the Chicago, Milwaukee, and St. Paul Railroad. It was a good thing the railroads got as many supplies into towns before the spring thaw, because when that hit, the railroad tracks couldn't be used till the water went down and the ground firmed up, as seen in this photo. Imagine a heavy, long train trying to cross those tracks. In modern times, many of these areas are built up with tons of rocks, so the train can keep a solid footing and keep going. Aren't you glad we're done with winter? And we're certainly glad that today we have modern equipment to keep our sidewalks, driveways, streets, and roads open no matter how much snow we get. Another history moment from the Dakota Prairie Museum, Aberdeen, South Dakota.